Okay, there we go. So thank you everyone for attending our agent specific becoming a market creator why sell Calgary. My colleague Nish is on this call as well, a $1 million agent, and wanted to show people what we do and really how you can become a market creator. So recently, there's me. I was away on a. He's having a laugh. I was away on Necker Island, and I got to meet Richard Branson. Now I did meet him before this crash, but we both ended up crashing our bicycles on a bike ride. But it was pretty cool because 2 days later we were back out again to finish that bike ride. We spent the morning in the clinic together, getting all bandaged up. That's also why I have a beard now, because I have a big hole in my chin. And if you're here for the chit chat, I was getting X-rays on my wrist today from that fall. It happened 3 weeks ago. But what I learned was spending a week with him and being away on his island was you need to fail to be successful. So don't be scared to try new things, because if you just continue to do the same thing, you will hit a ceiling and you won't go any farther than that. So you take risks, fail, but if you fail, you will end up being successful. And as I said, we finished the bike ride. So this is 2 days later. We're patched up and we finished the bike ride. So learn from your failures, and success will follow. You can see how sweaty I was there at the finish of that one. It's quite an aggressive ride. But if you fail, you'll learn from your mistakes, and success will come right after. I also learned, just again, being in the presence of someone that's incredibly successful, when you have fun doing something, money will follow. And this was literally that was the day after the accident, but this is us on the island having a great time. He's hanging out with us. You can see him playing chess with a group there. Here you have someone that has many different companies, very, very busy, but he has the true freedom of time. And it was something that was incredible to witness. And you may be wondering, like, what does this have to do with being a market creator? Well, let's get that over there. That's how I live my life, and when I flow into being a market creator, it allows me to do things that the regular agent doesn't. But this is how I live my life, and that's my takeaways from a billionaire. If you're not having fun, don't do it. So focus on things that are you're actually fun, have fun, and enjoy doing, because the money will follow. We have so much more to give to this world, and that's why I'm doing the market creator presentation, because I want to give back to my fellow colleagues in the industry, and show them how to be successful. We have so much more to get out of life. So again, with this success, we'll open up new doors for you. Delegation and collaboration are the key to scalable success. I know that we are the best at education and educating people on new markets, and that's what we're sharing with you today, and how you can collaborate with us to actually have scalable success. When you sell resale, there are only so many deals that you can do, because you only have so much time. How many buyers can you take out on the weekend that people want to see properties? There's only a set amount of time that you have that you can do that. But if you go into the right program, you can build a scalable business, and that will bring you more revenue, open up more opportunities for you. And if you are the best at what you do, your business will rarely fail. And again, as I mentioned, we are the best at creating new markets. And how I measure success now, I measure with the freedom of time. So being with someone that have pure freedom of time, this is how I want to spend my time. I want to spend time with my family. No, that is not my home. We go to a studio to get our pictures done. That is not my home. But this is our Christmas. We get Christmas photos done every year, and this was the photo for our Christmas card. So we have helped over 1,000 people from across Canada to invest in Calgary since 2020. We sold 300 plus million in pre-construction units there. Our team has personally invested in 20 pre-construction units. Why I share this is that I can tell you when we started doing this, no one, and I mean no one, was promoting the sales in Calgary. We were the only people doing it. And we literally created the market. There was no locals doing it. There was no one else in Canada doing it. We were the only ones that were saying, hey, you should buy Calgary. We are truly the experts on that. And we created that market. And not only do we say people should invest in Calgary, we also put our money in where we promote to our clients as well. We invested in 20 pre-construction units. Niche himself, you've invested in 7, haven't you?
That's correct. 7 and counting. We'll see what
7
happens.
and counting. Yes, yeah. There's a new launch coming next week that he wants to invest in called Lincoln, which I believe we'll talk a little bit more in the end. So now, getting into me, I'm Alex Wilson. That's my picture without a beard before my face was all scarred. I'm owner and broker record of Remax Wealth Building Real Estate. I've been selling real estate for over 15 years. In 2022, I was recognized as the #1 agent in Canada for individual transactions, was also #4 in commissions in Canada for Remax and #11 in the world. I've also been inducted in the Remax Hall of Fame, received the Lifetime Achievement Award at 35, received the Remax Circle Legends Award at 40. I am now 42. I feel again that I have to say that with all the white in my beard. But really, what I've been very successful at is investing, and I've turned a $39,000 deposit into a $17 million real estate portfolio. And this is the portfolio here. And I always share this with people, and you guys are all professional salespeople on this call, but we never promote investing in real estate as a flip opportunity. We never do. It's buy and hold, buy and hold, buy and hold. And I show people my portfolio. So current market value of my portfolio, just over $17 million. The majority of my investments, other than my own, well, that's not even on here. Majority of my investments, other than the apartment building and the triplex, which the triplex I lived in, everything else has been pre-construction purchases. So I focus on pre-construction investments. I've lived it, I breathe it, I promote it. Current market value 17 million, but of course, all those properties have mortgages on them. But the great thing is in 30 years, and this is what we project to our clients, in 30 years, my portfolio will be paid off. Why is it going to be paid off? Tenants in these properties are paying off the property for me. And again, as agents, and we stress this, and Niche lives this by this mantra as well. Kyle does as well. He's on vacation today. This is our pension plan. We are building a pension plan. In 30 years, this portfolio will be paid off by those tenants, and that portfolio will be worth just over $42 million. And that's at a conservative compound annual growth rate of 3%. We invest in roofs overheads. We provide that roof for someone, and then they compensate us with rent, and that rent covers property tax, maintenance fees, and the mortgage on the property. And you may be like, hey, Alex, no, it doesn't cover the mortgage on the property if you invest in Toronto. That is correct. And that was one of the drivers when we went to Calgary, December 2019, when we started, so we'll say 2020, because we could actually get cash flowing properties. You can't do that in Toronto anymore. You could when I initially invested, which that first property, 20 Minnow and Mike and Lane, that I bought for $267,000 and change. That one cash flows. It still cash flows today, even with an equity takeout. But the majority of properties, if you were buying today, or actually I wouldn't say majority, all properties you buy today with 20% down will not cash flow. You have to look at putting about 50% down to get those properties cash flows with today's interest rates and rents. But you can do it in Calgary. And our success stories, Kyle's has sold since 2022 350 Calgary deals, Niche 200 deals, and both. Niche, what would you say? You've been about a full-time agent really since 2 full years in the business now, just coming on that, maybe getting to a third now.
Yeah, this would be the starting of my third, technically, when you look at the numbers. Yeah, so a rookie by all accounts.
And what I want to show, and why I love sharing this slide, is that you and Kyle are both $1 million plus agents, and you were just new in the business, starting this. Now you're knowledgeable and you're diligent and everything like that. But I share this to everyone on here, going, you guys can all do this. And you don't need to take it to the level that Niche and Kyle did, but it is very easy to build up this business, especially with the market that we've created being Calgary. There's Kyle. Hi, Kyle. He's on Blue Mountain today, so enjoy your skiing, Kyle. And here's Nish. Nish, you want to tell a bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is my first time seeing this version of the presentation, so that's why you see me smiling through some of these slides. But before I get into the details here, I wanted to share just a very quick situation. So generally, before Alex, Kyle, and we host a webinar like this, and it's a new webinar, I like to be prepared. Kyle likes to be prepared. Alex obviously has more experience, so he's able to go on the fly. So this afternoon, I emailed Alex or I messaged Alex. I'm like, hey, what do you want the game plan to be like for this one? And he didn't respond. And then I was like, oh, well, wait a minute. There's really nothing to prepare because I'm just going to be speaking about my personal experience. Essentially, what I did over the last 2 years is what I'm going to try to communicate as succinctly as I possibly can, because that is the critical path, the foundational steps that you can follow to do what both Kyle and I did. Now, Kyle is, probably closer to 400 units right now, and he focuses strictly on the pre-construction game. I do enjoy aspects of the resale market, so I've had success in that space as well. But it's just been, people say this out of context and it's cliche, but it's been a life-changing experience, understanding how the pre-construction world works in Calgary, simply because I'm able to free up that time. And it's not just the quantity, it's the quality of time I'm able to free up so I can spend that time with the people I love, doing the things that I love to do when they're able to do that with me. So wanted to get that out there, and now I can talk about some of the bullet points here. So
And also add, you just got recently, like now well, it was 3 weeks ago, but you were in Mexico for 3 weeks in January.
yeah, I get to take vacation, and this may not always be the case, but in the two most recent vacation trips, I was more successful business-wise, generating sales while I was on vacation on a per day basis for that time frame than I am at other times during the year, just because I
And
have the flexibility to work.
and can you show houses when you're in Mexico?
No.
But you can still make sales when you have the right market that has been created for you, and the right marketing behind it. Do you want to
Absolutely.
talk a little bit about well, no, I would say let's go right to your portfolio. Oh no, I might have deleted your portfolio. I did. Uh, yeah, Niche, just talk a little bit about your portfolio. I don't have that slide up in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So in total, we're up to 9 properties. 2 of them are in the Greater Toronto area. My first purchase was back in 2006, and then again, the most recent, quote unquote, Toronto purchase was in 2018. But then the last 7 properties that I bought have been in Calgary. Now that's a combination of my wife and I fully investing, but also we've had financial stakes and interests with our parents who are getting into other properties as well. So overall, we have 9. And really, those last 7 properties, I was only able to do that because I was able to buy into a market like Calgary that has that doesn't have the same barriers to entry that you would find in other major markets. And essentially, it's one of the ways that I've been able to build credibility as well. And this is a very important element. Not to say that this is mandatory, but what I found is because I made those purchases myself, the very first purchase that I made, the amount of time I took to investigate and truly understand the market, it equipped me with a skill set to be more knowledgeable when I'm speaking to my clients. And of course, you have more credibility because you're talking from a position of experience, and you've shown people that you're willing to put your own money where you're asking your potential clients to do so as well.
Speaking of credibility, this is how we find a market. I look for positive cash flow with 20% down. I look for a market that has upside, and I look for a market that has global appeal. And the global appeal, why that's important, that's for my high-paying jobs, my international companies opening head offices in that market. I want those high-paying, whether it's tech jobs or international companies or even domestic head office companies opening up offices. And that's why specifically why we like Calgary with number 3. There are smaller markets people reach out about, but they're going to be limited on the upside because they don't have that global appeal. You want that global appeal because that's where you'll see when you look at Toronto pricing, you look at Vancouver pricing, and you need global appeal to get to that next level of appreciation in those areas. Okay. And this is where when we look at Toronto versus Calgary, this is where we see continued growth and upside and look at in that market. What I mean in the market that we were just in 2023, which is one of the worst markets that I've experienced in the business. We were looking at sales numbers that were reaching levels of 2000, so 23 years ago, or 23-year lows. Calgary still had positive sales, positive price appreciation. If we look at detached homes, went up by nearly 15%. Toronto only went by 2.4%. Their semi-detached homes went up by 7.6%. And Toronto went up by 1.8%. Townhomes shot up huge, 18.7% in Calgary, 4.4% in Toronto. Condos really coming along. That's where you see a huge increase in number of sales, 28%, price appreciation by 10.7%. In Toronto, condos went down 3.3%. When you look at that pricing too, Calgary is literally half the value of Toronto. So there's still significant room for growth in those areas. And we're seeing those numbers of anywhere between 7.6 to 18.7% growth, again, in a market that was over 7 to 8% when you're looking in the variable numbers, 6% in the fixed numbers. So just imagine what's going to happen in that market when interest rates start going down. And at these prices, you can generate positive cash flow, especially at that 4 to 4.5% mark. Even when you look at Toronto and you go to 4 and 4.5%, it's still not going to be positive cash flow. Not even close to positive cash flow, 20% down. You can get that positive cash flow in Calgary, and you have the upside because look at the growth in prices, and that was at the high interest rate level. So that's where we still see tremendous opportunity in Calgary. And what happened in Calgary, and we'll get into more in the presentation, but I was even watching a YouTuber today, like, oh, you're buying in the top of market in Calgary. I'm like, you're not buying in the top of market in Calgary. He was only looking at a 1 year. I'm like, you got to go back a decade to see, like, well, no, we're just getting back up to levels that we're seeing 10 years ago in 2014, because that's when the crash happened in prices in Calgary, and I'll explain in the presentation why that crash happened and why it won't happen again. No. Calgary is playing catch up. Calgary was more expensive than Toronto in 2004. So that's where you see like it's not at the top of the market. No, it's just starting its climb to get up to where its colleagues are. And what I mean colleagues, like cities like Toronto, Vancouver.
So Alex,
yeah.
One additional point I want to make about the how interest rates impact the numbers, even with the pause in interest rates, the amount of activity that we saw just in January in Calgary, like if we can scroll back to the past slide, you saw the biggest category last year were condos. That same market in January compared to last year was up almost 20%.
Yep. Yeah. Well, yeah.
And it was the first time that the condo prices actually eclipsed the 2014 pricing.
Yeah,
and
correct.
There's still a ton of room to grow.
You're nowhere near the top of the market. Like you're just starting to get that appreciation. And what happens, and I heard this, if I go back to the Toronto market in 2015, what I would hear is, Alex, buy houses, don't buy condos. And by the way, for everyone, we have houses, we have condos, we have town, we have everything available. But people would be like, well, don't buy condos in Toronto, Alex, they're bad because houses are worth more. But I knew that condos were going to come along in appreciation, because what happens is you get an affordability gap, and then people can't afford that detached home. So then they go into the condo, and that's their first home before they go into the freehold property. So we have this big gap right now between freehold houses and condos, and we're seeing condo sales jump in Calgary, and we're seeing appreciation start to happen in Calgary. Condos are just getting started in Calgary in regards to price appreciation. You just got to look at that longer time frame to see what it's been doing. So 2024 be a great time to invest, yes, but some markets are better than others. Let's look at Calgary. And at the end of the presentation, I'm going to show you two options. Number one, I'm going to show you how you can make $100,000. Number two, I'm going to show you how you can make $1 million. You make $100,000 in 4 steps. You make $1 million in 7 steps. But I want to now, we showed you in regards to how we create a market, how we look at it, introduce ourselves. I'll tell you why we go into the detail of why Calgary. Then at the end, I'm going to go into showing you this is actually how you do it and profit from investing in Calgary. So why buy Calgary? Boy, one of the most livable cities in North America, ranked as one of the most top livable cities in the world for healthcare, culture, education, infrastructure, ranked on the Economist Intelligent Unit's Global Livability Index for the last 10 years. Situated in the Rocky Mountains. We're actually going to Calgary. I'm bringing the whole team there at the end of February, and we're going to go enjoy those Rocky Mountains. I put a poll in the group chat today. Let's see where we're at, what people want to do. People want to. We have they're in chat. There we go, chat. So 3 people want to go skiing and 2 people want to go to the spa. No one wants to go snowmobiling with me yet. So, but that's why I just wanted to bring that up. We're going to be going to Banff, which is an hour outside of Calgary. Hour and a half outside of Calgary to get to the Rocky Mountains in an hour. And literally we'll stay at the Banff Springs Hotel, and we can go play in a world class area, world-class skiing, world-class hiking, snowmobiling, everything like that, all are at your doorstep. Ample green space in national parks, 2nd lowest cost of living in Canada, 9th lowest cost of living in North America. And that's a huge driver for that continued migration of individuals and immigration of individuals, which we'll talk about next. So when we're looking at investing, and when I first looked at Calgary, that first slide really talks about, okay, seems like an attractive place to live, but we're in the business of investing in roofs over heads. And if we're investing in roofs over heads, I want to see positive population growth. Well, Alberta is going to grow by the most in Canada over the next 20 years. So it's going to lead Canada in population growth. It's going to grow by 48%. It's going to be larger than BC by 2043. That's twice the rate of Ontario growth at 24%. And the population of Calgary, which is the economic capital and population capital of Alberta, it's going to grow by 62.5%, because when you're in these big cities, which has the high-paying jobs, that's going to attract more people than other communities. So you're going to have outsized growth by 62.5% over the next 20 years, and you are going to have an increase in population of the city by 1 million people. It's going to grow by 1 million people. All those people are going to need somewhere to live. What do people need to do? They need to live, they need to eat, they need warmth. If you're investing in a high population growth area, and if you're investing in an area that's going to grow the most in Canada, that's a huge positive sign for me. On top of that, they have money as well. So Calgary, from an economic standpoint, is the 4th largest economy in Canada. So Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver are 1, 2, 3. Then Calgary's number 4. Its economy is larger than the entire economy of Manitoba, the entire economy of Saskatchewan. Is truly a global player as an economic area. And on top of that, we talked about how Alberta is going to lead Canada by population growth. It's going to also lead Canada by economic growth. So I'm investing in the province, and also I'm investing in the province that's growing the fastest, and I'm investing in a province that is going to have the most money. Don't I want to own real estate in that area? If I'm investing in roofs over heads, those people are going to have the most money, and they're going to have the most people that need housing. That's where I actually want to be investing. So some real positive trends when I'm looking forward when I look at the economy of Alberta. Also, speaking of all that money, they run something that people in Ontario, and I know we may have agents from other provinces as well, but people from Ontario don't know what the word surplus means because we just hear the word deficit. What I mean by that is that Alberta, the province of Alberta, doesn't run deficits. They run surpluses. What that means is their government brings in more money than they spend. What do they do with that money? They pay down their financial debt. And they have the lowest net financial debt in Canada per citizen. Ontario is some of the highest. And last year they had a huge budget surplus of over 13 billion. This year the surplus is projected to be 5.5 billion. And it's also projected to be in the $billions into the future as well. What does that allow them to do? It allows them to have the lowest corporate tax rate in Canada, no provincial sales tax, no land transfer tax, and no development charges. It also, they have pro business environment, no rent control either. This is a landlord's dream to invest in because there's no extra closing costs when we close on the property. And when you rent out the property, you don't have to deal with rent controls. You don't have to deal with infinite leases. And what I mean by that, if you rent out a unit in Ontario, you can't get the tenant out. There's no way to get them out unless you physically move in yourself. And if you're buying in a holding corporation, there's no way to get the tenant out because the corporation can't move in there. You can't use that owner occupied if it's owned in a corporation. There, you just do a 1-year lease. And after that, okay, goodbye. See you later. Oh, Niche, you live this. You have your investment properties out there. It's literally like that, isn't it?
Absolutely. You have so much more flexibility, and the rules are actually fair and enforceable, which is one of the biggest reasons why I'm able to invest with such confidence. And one of the main messages that I communicate to my clients as well, because many of them live in cities that don't have similar rules, and the hesitation just with what's happened over the last couple of years is one of the biggest obstacles to get over. But as we go over how Alberta is different, the those barriers become less and less of an issue.
Uh, Now, a lot of I shouldn't say a lot of it, but some of our ejection points, people will go like, well, what if oil prices crash again? Calgary's going to crash. Now, what happened in 2014? You had oil prices that were over $100 per barrel. And you had mass building at that time, and then oil prices came down quite significantly, and then that led to mass layoffs. The difference this time is that Calgary's diversified its population, its economy away from oil and gas. On top of that, people see where oil prices are and those budget surpluses that the government's running, but there has been no new investments in the oil sands. All those people that were laid off in 2015, 2016, 2017, that led to the reduction of housing because you had all these layoffs, which then you had less demand for housing. None of that exists today because none of those people were hired back on. There was the increase in the economy has nothing to do with oil and gas. The new jobs aren't in oil and gas. They're diversified away from oil and gas. All the people that are moving to Calgary via immigration or migration from other provinces aren't moving there to work in the oil and gas sector. So even if you had a decrease in oil prices, it's not going to impact the local economies of Calgary because they've diversified away from that. What are they diversified into? One area they've seen a lot of growth in is in the tech industry. And Calgary has outpaced from a tech workforce standpoint everyone else in North America. Not something that you hear a lot of, but Calgary is another huge tech hub in Canada. And why is that? Well, it's ranked in the global top 10 most attractive cities for workers. It has the highest proportion of STEM graduates. So a lot of the people that used to work in the oil and gas sector, required degrees in engineering, science, mathematics. Well, those are also the same degrees that are required in technology companies for programming. So they had the infrastructure then to shift over to to have the young population educated. So you have this highly educated workforce in Alberta, the most educated workforce in Alberta, actually, and also the youngest workforce in Canada, which is great for these technology companies because that's what they need. They need that type of individual, that young professional technology-based individual to work for these companies. And that has allowed them to be home to 435 technology companies, with 3/4 of them startups. But on top of that, we talked about earlier how they have the lowest corporate tax rate in Canada. There's no provincial sales tax. And then they also have some of the lowest cost office space in Canada. So it's very, very affordable to run an operation out of Calgary. And when we look at office space costs, Toronto is over 100% more, for double the cost of office space in Calgary. Vancouver is 155% more. So significantly more expensive from an operational standpoint. And then on top of that, from a tax standpoint, to operate in other jurisdictions like Toronto and Vancouver, Calgary is the affordable option. And that has allowed these startups to start growing because capital when you're a startup is important. So where you can save, if I can save on taxes, if I can save on office space, and that's huge. And that's where we've had now these Calgary unicorns, which are companies that get billion-dollar valuations like Neo Financial, Benivity, and Veris, Parvis Therapeutics, Shareworks by Morgan Stanley. That's something that was bought by Morgan Stanley. So you have these companies, and there's founders. They're founders who get their massive payouts. They start investing back into the tech startup workspace to some of their friends that they haven't hit their valuations yet. And then they invest back in. And then you get this whole tech ecosystem that's growing and growing and growing. And that's what we're seeing there now. And it's not just the tech industry. You have major players that are opening up businesses as well. Amazon, who we all know, they're opening a new cloud computing server hub in Calgary. That's the second in Canada. The other one's in Montreal. It's $4.3 billion investment and 900 jobs. TELUS just opened a new 60-story state-of-the-art office tower headquarters in Calgary, hiring 8,500 people in Alberta. It's part of a $17 billion investment in operations and network in Alberta. WestJet is now making its Canadian global connecting hub it's only global connecting hub. It's out of Calgary, which is a multi-billion-dollar asset investment to Calgary and the airport. It's relocating all 787 Dreamliners and 1,000 direct jobs. So when I talked about global appeal previously, we only have 4 true international airports in Canada. And those are airports that are going to allow you to have direct flights all around the world. And that is Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto, Montreal. What does that mean? If I'm an international company, I want to be operating out of a city, a global connecting hub, so I can get there directly. I don't want to be connecting through various cities. Calgary offers that ability to fly direct to major centers across the world. And that allows you to have major investment. And that's why you have, and when you look at head offices in Canada, Toronto's #1, Calgary is actually #2 for head offices. What do head offices bring? High-paying jobs. What do high-paying jobs bring? High-paying jobs brings appreciation of home prices. What does appreciation of home prices bring? Happy investors. And what does happy investors bring agents? More business. Forgot we're in an agent call for a second. More business for you guys when you have happy clients. Also, it's attracting major manufacturing as well. This isn't a sexy name, but they're getting a major aircraft manufacturing facility built in Calgary, and this is Toronto's losing it. So they're building a massive aircraft manufacturing complex just east of Calgary, 1,000 acres of land. It's moving its headquarters. It moved its headquarters to Calgary from Toronto. 1,500 relocated jobs. So relocated is key. That means it's people leaving Toronto and that have to move to Calgary because they're actually building their whole facility to build airplanes. And de Havilland, they make water bombers, rugged types of aircraft. So if you wanted to do research on them, and in a warming world, I know their orders for water bombers. I think they have 5 years worth of orders. So if you would order a water bomber today, we're not getting it until the close to the 2030s, I believe. So it's something that's very, very important. And that facility is being moved to Calgary out of Toronto. This was on the Bombardier lands that were sold a couple of years back. So that's being built and it's going to open in 2024. You also get your international company. So I talked about the importance of having a global connecting hub in the city you're investing in. You have massive Indian IT companies, Infosys that's opening, doubling jobs from 500 to 1,000 in Calgary. Opened up a new head office in Calgary. Their digital center. Emphasis. They are opening a new head office in Calgary. They've hired over 1,000 people. Massive Indian IT consulting firms. Also into AI. SideTrade opened a new headquarters in Calgary, 110 jobs coming there. So your major players are coming to Calgary, not Toronto, not Vancouver, but Calgary. And you have your regular brand name big players as well. TD Bank opened a Western Canadian wealth hub in downtown Calgary, 100 financial planners. You want to know why? Because Calgary has the highest population of post-secondary educated people in Canada. And post-secondary educated people tend to make a lot of money. And that's why they need financial planners. And that's why TD is opening that up. RBC opened a new innovation hub, adding 300 tech jobs in Calgary. IBM opened a new innovation hub, 250 new jobs in Calgary. The IBM hub is located right around the corner from our latest launch, Lincoln. We had another launch last year, Gallery, which was a huge success, and a lot of that. You have this tech corridor that's in and around these new buildings that have been launching in the downtown area of Calgary. And what do young professional tech workers like? They don't like shoveling snow. They like being able to lock their door and go play and go to work. And that's what condo living has to offer. So how do you become a market creator? I said to everyone on the call, I tell you why to buy Calgary, but how, as agents, how do you profit from this? As I said, when I showed those beginning slides of me and Necker Island, of the success that we had, what I've learned is that collaboration is the key to scalability for your business. And Nish, you and I have been collaborating now since the pandemic because we were stuck in that office together down at Lakeshore. And collaboration allowed you in 2 years to be that $1 million plus agent in the business and do the number of sales that you did. Would you say collaboration has helped you in your success?
Yeah, 100%. And I'll be turning 45 this month. And the reason I don't have the gray hairs that Alex does is because Alex didn't have an Alex, and I did. So a lot of the learning that I was fortunate to experience, it was learning by just by being around him and hearing him talk. Like the collaboration piece is such a huge component of my success. It's the mentorship factor that I like to call, because the acceleration of my business just by spending time with Alex and Kyle as well. Don't want to forget about him, but it's I don't want to say you can't put a price on it because we just talked about being $1 million agent, but it definitely is, I think, the biggest contributor to the success that I've had over the last 2 years.
And I gotta say, from my side of it, you were always willing to learn. You weren't afraid to fail. You put up no roadblocks either. You saw a path to success and you took that. Other people make roadblocks. It's not as simple as like a see and do. Well, it is as simple as see and do, but people tend to put up mental blocks and everything like that in there. But if you remove those mental blocks and just follow what I'm going to tell you to do next, you will make this money. So if you want to make 100K in commission, and what I mean by that is sales. So 100K would probably work out to about let me do the math quickly, how many deals you would have to do in Calgary.
Between 12 and 15, I want to say, right?
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, I was going to say average 8. Yeah, 12 and a half. So let's say 12. We'll say 12 deals. I know this for a fact, and Nish, you can confirm this. If you schedule a call with our wealth team, you invest in 1 unit, And by the way, you don't have to invest in unit, because I had someone ask me, like, do I have to invest in unit? No, you don't have to invest in unit. I'm just telling you this is the easiest way to get to 100K. You do not need to invest in a unit. That's just, this is the quickest way for you to get to 100K. You invest in a unit, invite your database to a personalized webinar. So we offer you personalized webinars where what you basically just saw, not the Richard Branson stuff and everything like that, but the why, what we go over, we show our portfolios. We talk about holding real estate over the long term. With you, you're highlighted in there. We talk about holding real estate over the long term. We go over why buy Calgary. You invite your database to that, your personalized webinar. Then after the webinar, you reach out to your attendees, invite them on a call with yourself and our wealth team. For example, Nish, jump on a call with him, because remember what I said, Nish's success came by watching me do this. You just watch him do this. You don't need to do anything. You just watch and learn. You will make 100K in 1 year. What I mean 100K, you'll write 100K in business is going to generate 100K. It's pre-construction property, so your payout happens. And this is what's cool. And Nisha, I think you'll attest to this with pre-construction payouts. When you woke up this year, you already knew in 2024 you have money coming in, right?
Yeah, which isn't dependent on interest rates.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. He was able to go to Mexico. He wasn't stressed if where's my next resale listing going to come from? Is that resale listing even going to sell? Do I have any buyers right now? He's not stressed about that. He's still always working his business, adding to his pipeline, but he already knows he has income coming in because he knew he had the sales that he did in 2023, though those will partially pay out in 2024. And then when those buildings close, he'll have another payout at that time in the future. So he has another cash flow that's set up, let's say in 2026 and 2027 or 2028, depending on when these projects close. So now all of a sudden he has a 5 years of cash flow that he can look at in his business while he's continuing to grow his pipeline. So he's not as worried about where's my money going to come? How am I going to feed my family? No, he's like, okay, I actually am building a scalable profitable business. So if you do this 100K in what, I'd say, am I being aggressive by saying 2 months you can make 100K in 2 months?
The right project, which we have right now, and the right mentorship, which we're offering, like again, not to overshare, but I mean, we've done that much amount of business in the last few days.
Yes,
right.
What?
So
and what I'll say too is, if you go back, I started doing this in December 2019. Okay, when no one was doing this. My calls then are much different than the calls today that someone has about Calgary. The market has been created. We have created the market for you. The hype is out there in the market now. So if someone's getting an email from you saying that, hey, why buy Calgary? You don't need to recreate the market. It's already been created for you. And we're just going to show you your database why they should buy Calgary. And it's basically bringing the trough to the water. They will bite because we are the best at educating people. And this is key. We educate so that when they actually decide to invest in Calgary, it's their decision. You didn't sell them on buying in Calgary. You just brought them the opportunity. We educated them. We've experienced every single objection that you can think of. And then they make a decision that they want to invest in. So that's how you make 100K. That's 4 steps. Here's the 7 steps to $1 million. And Nish will be able to tell you, yes, you can do this. So remember, do the first 4 steps. Number 5, eventually your database is going to tap out. So what you're going to want to do is start increasing your database with online leads. You make 30 touch points a day. This will result in an average of 5 to 10 sales per month. And I'll highlight Kyle on this one because Kyle doesn't do any resale. Kyle just sits on the phone, on Zoom, replies to emails, and that's how he has driven his success. He doesn't leave his house. That's not for everyone. It is not for everyone. It's what he chooses to do. But if you do follow steps 1 to 7, this works. Now I had a great call with someone. I did an interview with REM magazine which as real estate professionals, you may know them, speaking with Andrew. And I got asked a question, Alex, we get a lot of complaints that Facebook leads are crap. Is this true? And I said, I'm gonna say yes and no. Or no and yes, because I don't want to say positive. No, they're not crap, but yes, they are. And what I mean by that is most people don't have the proper system in place to educate those individuals. So if you are thinking that you can get a Facebook lead and call them right away and they're going to buy, yeah, you're going to think they're crap. But what you do is if you have a system in place, which we do, if you have a system in place and nurture those people over the next 6 to 12 months, they're going to start transacting. What they're doing is when they're on Facebook, they're just putting their hands up saying, hey, I'm interested, right? They wouldn't have signed up, they weren't interested. They're just putting their hands up, hey, I'm interested. They're not ready to buy at that time. Again, they may be, they happen, but generally they're not. But they want more information. So you just educate, build that trust. That's what you're doing, because you're building trust at that time. You're providing them with education. They will eventually transact, but it's going to take 6 to 12 months on that. But if you follow this program over an 18-month period, this will happen. I know it because I've seen it happen not once, but twice in a very relatively short period of time.
And the success that Alex speaks to, like the success in sales is almost the same recipe in terms of success with any other aspect of life that you really want to get better at. Like if you are looking at your physical fitness, if all you're doing is drinking 2 protein shakes a day and that's all you're doing, that's equivalent to just running one Facebook ad and calling somebody. It's part of a bigger marketing mix that you have to diligently work at in order to see the type of results. And those results are 6 to 12 months out. And that's generally how it happens. The Facebook leads is part of, 5 or 6 different other elements that you're going to be doing, including the big piece, which is the educational piece, which is the webinars and other content that you put out there. It's the interactions, it's attending trade shows. It's the type of thing that you do to get your name out there. And once you put this entire mix in place, then you will start to see the magic happening. You'll see that momentum building, and momentum begets momentum, and that breeds success. So I can only speak to the experience that I personally had and the experience of Kyle, who I've worked with closely, and listening to Alex. And, he and I are a testament to the processes and procedures that Alex has taken 15 years to perfect. And now we get to benefit from those 15 years in a very summarized crash course or masterclass, which is, yes, it's 6 months, maybe 12 months to see the type of results that we're seeing, but it's absolutely possible.
Yeah. And again, you can make that 100K in 2 months with definitely. I'm seeing it this week. The market has picked up from December and January. Easy 6 months. So what projects do we have? Nish, do you just want to quickly talk? I don't think we don't have the link in on this page, but you just want to quickly talk about these properties. Just giving an overview of, we have condos and everything like that.
Yeah, what's really great is when you speak to your clients, you're going to have those that have a specific desire and what they want to invest in. And we have pretty much everything. We have the low-rise condos, which tend to be your entry-level price points in the mid 300s. They start with as low as 5% down, with pretty much all the bells and whistles. Then you go into the higher caliber condos, which are in the downtown areas. Imperia is one of them. The new one that we're launching later this month is called Lincoln, which is probably what you're seeing a ton of traction ads on. We also have single family homes, duplexes. We've sold out of townhomes, but we are going to get them, and we have them in all different geographical areas within Calgary. Some people want to stick to a certain area because they're seeing more growth. Other people may want to go into the downtown space. So whatever your clients are looking for in that city, we have. And the most, I guess, the newest one that we have coming up, which from our understanding is the best product that Truman Homes has put out, is Lincoln Condos. It's located at 11th and 2nd, like smack dab in the financial district. You're, less than a 5-minute walk from the Calgary Tower, the Saddle Dome. You have transit just outside your building entrance. The facade of the building is fantastic. Alex, what is it? A brushed stainless steel gold.
You have a brushed stainless steel in gold
Yeah.
for the exterior of the building. It's gonna look quite stunning in
And the
there.
amenities are fantastic. They have, I think, 12 world-class amenities, uh, just under 22,000 square feet for these amenities, which include a bowling alley, a pool, a podcast studio. So, hey, actually, there are individuals on this webinar right now that used to live in Toronto, and our colleagues of ours are now in Calgary because they're enjoying exactly what we talked about. The cost of living is lower. You're buying properties for half the price. And one stat that we didn't share, Alex, was the median price, sorry, the median income in Calgary.
Oh
It's,
yeah, because that one's new. Yeah,
yeah, it's,
yeah, and by the way, guys, we're always looking at stats, and I
yeah,
didn't even share any of those stats on the slides. But the median household income in Calgary, and it was in our old slideshow, but it was an outdated number. Uh,
94,000,
our market, yeah,
$94,000.
yeah, it's $92,000 now. Before we had it 60 some.
Yeah.
Now it's $92,000, highest in Canada. Again,
And prospectively, yeah, it's like 27% higher than the Canadian average, but it's about 25% higher than the Ontario average. And the house prices are half the price. So you're making 25% more and you're spending half the price on houses. So
and you pay
it's a
less
winner.
tax.
Exactly.
And you don't have the tax that it's going to impact that as well. So the next step for people, if they're interested in this now, I'll just say this and then we'll open up the floor to questions. Next step is just reach out. Reach out. I have a whole sales and marketing team. We can get you set up. You start running these. I'm telling you, you will make 100K right off the bat. Well, in 2 months. I don't want to say right off the bat because I don't want people to run one and then they're all disappointed. But we're here to work with you. In 2 months, you will make 100K, 12 deals. Guaranteed, 99.5%. So what I'll do is reach out. If you're on here, that means you've got my email. Just send me an email back, and we'll book a call with you, and we'll just talk about next steps and on how to get you started. But truly take advantage, and because I've been out there, I created this market 2019, 2020, when there was nothing established at all, and built it up to where it is today. This is huge opportunity for everyone here. Because again, we focus on educating, and we apply the fundamentals: positive cash flow, upside, and global attraction. I see someone with the hand up. Hand is down now. If you have questions, there's a Q&A box down below. You can just ask questions in the Q&A box down below. But otherwise, if you're interested, our West Side South Calgary, reach out to us. And again, we've invested in 20 pre-construction properties there. Leverage we've been there and we're going there again. We're getting a bunch of marketing material in Calgary at the end of the month. Leverage us, that collaboration, because it's going to help you. It's going to save your time. It's going to give you freedom of time. You don't have to stress about figuring everything out. We've done everything already. You just need to set up a date, reach out to your database. It's cruise control after that. Pretty much. So does anyone have any questions? Otherwise, I'll wrap this up. But Nish, again, thank you for taking time to jumping on.
Absolutely.
But we do truly believe in this opportunity for everyone, and we want to give back and help people and help you spend more time with your family, or spend more time doing things that you want to do, and this will allow you to do that. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. It was great chatting with everyone, and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye-bye.
Ciao.